Hi guys, it's good morning. It's July 1st, Friday. Getting ready to start the July 4th weekend. The girls are with me this weekend, and today is Tua's birthday. So she was cute this morning. She woke up and knocked on her door. I went and opened it. For some reason, she has trouble opening that door. Aria normally opens it in like a second. But sometimes she can't open it, so I went and I opened it, and she jumped into bed with me and wanted to cuddle. So I took advantage and took a picture and posted it on Instagram. And I sang her happy birthday. When Aria woke up, we sang her again happy birthday. Aria kept saying it was her birthday first, so we sang her happy birthday too. And then she was willing to sing to a happy birthday after. The monkey texted us to FaceTime her, so we FaceTimed her a little bit. So she could say happy birthday as well. And then we got dressed. I took him to school, and hopefully like around 3 I'll be coming by again with a little birthday cake so she can celebrate with her friends at school and get her first birthday experience, because when she was 1 she doesn't really probably remember much, though we had a nice little birthday party for her. Or no, maybe, I'm not sure if we took her to Disney. I think we might have taken her to Disney. But it's good. We'll have fireworks, I'm sure, July 4th. I'm not sure how it's going to work with the custody thing for Monday, but we'll figure it out. We were supposed to talk yesterday with Adriana about the birthday, because I keep asking her what's going on with the birthday, since I know that it's something that we're supposed to share according to the agreement. It's not just a regular Friday, it's my day. But she hasn't really, I guess, had time to call, other than this morning when she FaceTimed with the girls, so I didn't want to bring it up in front of them, so I let it go. But we should be speaking, I'm sure, sometime today to discuss what we're going to do, if we're going to do anything together, if she's going to just take him for a couple hours and bring him back, I'm not sure. So we'll figure that out. I want to set good precedents from now, so that, maybe next holiday is her turn and she's the same way with me, and we can maintain positive exchanges during holidays and birthdays and such. So I'm going to go back to answering questions. I did get a couple more in the last comments. I appreciate all you guys that have been commenting. It's very supportive, very positive, very encouraging. I'm going to continue doing these videos. It helps me organize my thoughts and deal with things as well. So it goes both ways. Hopefully it's entertaining for you guys as well, and you guys can learn a new perspective on divorce and parenting from a man's point of view. So we'll keep it up. I also did a recipe video, as it was requested that was the type of video you guys were interested in doing. So that one's up. Salmon with no L, and potatoes, baked potatoes, chopped with thyme and garlic, salt, pepper, butter, and oil. So it looks good. It came out good. I made a lot of potatoes. It was like a 5-pound bag, so I'm going to give Adriana one of the glass containers that has the potatoes, because I know that she loves potatoes and she liked when I make that, so I'm just going to give her one of those so she has it for the weekend as well when she gets hungry. That woman could subsist on eating potatoes alone, potatoes and cheese, so I'm sure it'll be a happy thing for her to receive that. And it's a lot of potatoes for me and the girls to eat anyways, and I get kind of bored of having the same thing a lot. So okay, back to the questions. So we were asked why we were divorced. So I'm going to share something with you that you probably might not know, but probably a year into our marriage, in 2009 I believe it was, we did separate for about maybe 6 months, I think. We even signed papers at that point. We moved out of the house we were living together. It happened, the lease was ending, so it worked out, I believe. And then we went to each other's parents' house to sign the papers, and we ended up getting back, staying together for probably like another 6 years, and had the babies. So we kind of had that experience before, and this time, our process started in January of 2015. Both times I think it was related issues, you could say. Obviously marriages are complicated, relationships are complicated, and there's many different factors that affect how both people feel during a marriage. But I have no problem saying that I had created probably the main issues that culminated and started the process both times. There's things that led up to that. There's things that came after that. But the action that probably stands out both times is probably my action, and it was related both times. I won't get any deeper than that. But because of that process in January of 2015, we started discussing this. We didn't want to do it again in a rash way, because last time we did it in a rash way, it was traumatic. It was bad for both of us. It took a lot to recover from it, and it left us kind of scarred for continuing the relationship, whether we wanted to admit it or not. So we tried therapy. We started therapy in July. In the past time that we had broken up, I did therapy on my own. We never did it together. I think we did like one session together, and that was it. And then once we got back together, I kind of stopped. When we were apart, I would do it all the time. I was doing different things to try to get in touch with different aspects of myself and learn more about myself and heal different things that I had going on since I was a child and as an adolescent, as a young adult. And it helped a lot. For some reason I stopped. This time I'm going to try to continue it because it does help. I've been seeing the same therapist that we were seeing when we were trying to fix our marriage. Since last July, we were doing it every week. We went, sometimes twice a week when things would get bad. And it was a huge help. We also read books. We read The 5 Love Languages. That book was amazing. I recommend you guys read it. It made us realize how different we were and how we were frustrating each other because we were trying to love each other the way we both wanted to be loved, rather than how the other person wanted to be loved. So as an example, Adriana's love language was acts of service was her first one, and I guess her second one was physical touch, I guess. And my love language was words of affirmation, and physical touch was probably my second one. So in order for her to feel good about herself, it wasn't just enough to have the stuff done, because she would say that she wanted things done around the house, and I'd be like, we'll get a cleaning lady, we'll do this, we'll do that. And even though the end result would be the same, she wanted me to help her and do things for her around the house. So it was difficult in that sense, because I never really realized that until that point. Once I realized that, I started trying to make an effort to change it, and it didn't work. But it wasn't, we had done that from the beginning and learned that many years ago, things would have been probably way different. And then the less, she felt like I was doing acts of service for her, the less she'd want to, give me words of affection and touch that I needed, and it would just be a vicious cycle, because then I wouldn't feel like doing the things that she wanted me to do, and I would kind of give her the words of affirmation, and it wouldn't make a difference to her, and she would do acts of service for me, and she'd do, clean the house and do this and do that, and I'd just be like, hey, I'd rather you just come lay down and hang out with me. So it would be like a vicious cycle, and it led to a lot of issues, and we learned to figure that out, and it started working. I guess it was kind of too late for us, but it helped in our communication. We learned to speak without getting angry. We were both very passionate people. We were crazy about each other, but it was maybe too passionate in every aspect. We would get angry, blow up, and it was, I would get over things quick. She might sometimes take a couple days to get over it, sometimes more, depending on how it was, and it would just be a situation like that therapy helped us deal with and improve a lot. And I think without the therapy, this would have been a very contentious divorce, very angry, a lot of grudges held. Definitely wouldn't have been able to do it on our own in an amicable way. It would have probably taken forever. We would have spent a lot of money on lawyers, and it would have just been a rough situation for everybody involved. And just because of the fact that we did the therapy, we learned these things about each other, we kind of learned how to deal and communicate with each other. It allowed us to reach a new level of comfort and communication, and allow us to end it in the best possible way. So I'm gonna be grateful for the fact that we did that. Things work out for a reason. Obviously, when we started, I wasn't all for getting divorced. I think around January of 2016 was when, it had been a year. We had been trying so hard. We both felt like we had left it all on the table. Like, hey, there's nothing that we're holding back, and that we're like, hey, I'm not willing to do that. We had done everything we could, and it started feeling like a relief to consider separating, even though it was scary. Our lives are intertwined. We spent every minute together possible. From the moment we met, it was crazy. We spent every moment together. We barely had lives apart from each other, so everything was intertwined. The girls made us even more closer together. We were take turns doing everything. We had a great system worked out with the girls, but as man and as woman, we weren't happy in these situations that had arisen. In the year before, had left a lot of damage, and it was hard to undone and move past that. And during that same process of healing, more damage was created, and it was just a back and forth. And it became clear that this was the path. The way I looked at it when it first started was, I don't want a divorce, but if we are going to get back, this needs to happen. Because if we don't separate, we can't get back. We can't maintain the status quo. And the second aspect was that if we don't get back, I deserve to be happy, and she deserves to be happy as well. And if we're not happy together, then we need to be happy apart. And that's what we chose. And I think so far it's been the right choice. You never know how life works. But so far, it's been a relief. I was scared that I had been, when we used to live together, and for some reason we had an argument, and, she stayed downstairs and I went upstairs and tried to go to sleep. I would have a hard time falling asleep without her around me. She would cuddle me every night. I learned to like to cuddle. I didn't like to cuddle at first. And it became a thing that it was kind of like, it was what we were used to, and it was a habit, and I was like, I can't picture myself trying to go to sleep without her by my side, without going through my day without having to see her in the morning and at night, without texting her during the day, without parenting without her around, without having the girls, without sharing the responsibilities. And it was a scary thought for both of us, but we decided to be brave and do it. And I think we both like what's going on. I never had the opportunity to live on my own until we got married. She didn't either. We both went from our parents' house to living together on our own. And it's a very liberating thing. I do so much around the house. I enjoy my time with the girls. I have a couple days that are off. I miss the girls. And it's, not the easiest process at this point. It will get easier as time goes by. But it's a process where I feel free. It all depends on me. I want to do something at this point, I'll do it. If I want to do something else, I'll do that. If I want to watch something on TV, I'll do this. There's no compromising, which is good. It's important to compromise in marriages. It's important, but it's also important to not lose that individuality that you have. It's important not to become so intertwined with the other person that it's kind of like you guys are just one big, you both say the same things, you both do the same things, you both like the same things, and there's no separate interests and lives. And it needs to be a balance. Maybe not 50-50, because with kids and when you love somebody, you should want to spend your time with them, but maybe 75-25, and that 25 being the individual opportunities that you have. I don't know. I guess it depends on everybody's different, but at least those are things that I'm learning and taking forward as I move on. I'm sure if with her it's the same way. We haven't really spoken about that. So that's kind of like a little bit of more information about the divorce. As far as warning signs of a divorce, ours was, big events that kind of culminated that. But before that, there was unhappiness. Like, we were having arguments. We had money issues. We had, we felt that we weren't maintaining ourselves for each other. Different things that, the attention wasn't there. We weren't happy to receive texts during the day from each other. Like, you start taking things for granted. You start not appreciating the things. You start kind of losing that spark, and it's important to maintain that. It's important to have date nights. It's important to have romantic time. It's important. I was all about not taking any vacations without the kids, not having any time without the kids, because I loved my kids and I couldn't picture myself without them. But at the same time, she had suggested a bunch that we would do things without the kids, and I'm sure she was calling out saying, hey, I need this, and I wasn't giving it to her. So it's a process, and it's something that you have to do. You have to set time as a couple, as individuals. You have to set time as a couple, and you have to set time with your kids. That's it. You have to balance that all out, and that's a challenge. That's a challenge that everybody goes through. So it's something that, if I can pass one thing on, it's communication is the best thing in the world. To have the openness that you can tell your partner anything, whether you think it's going to hurt them, whether it's going to cause a fight or not. To be able to have that openness, to have your partner have the same openness with you and be able to hear things without judging, and to be able to hear things without getting upset and blowing up, and being able to discuss things and not having crazy fights, and resolving things in a positive way with each other's best interest in mind, and to find that balance between having kids, being parents, being a couple, and having time to a couple as without the kids, and then having time as individuals without the other person and without the kids. That's important. That balance is the key. If you find that harmony and balance, then you'll have a fruitful, long relationship. It's also important, to maintain kind of like that, circle the wagons. Like it's a term from like the Wild West, and sometimes they use it in football. You want to keep your marriage protected, insulated from anything on the outside, whether it be something physical, whether it be something emotional. Anything like that can start harming your marriage and weaken it and make it, create a hole that could be hard to cover up later on. So it's important to protect and to have that open relationship where if there feels to be some sort of weakness or something somebody's feeling or going on, that they're able to speak it to the other person, even if they're scared, and they're like, no, it's okay, we can solve this. And that's probably another lesson that's important as well. So as far as warning signs, there wasn't like any particular huge warning signs. It was kind of like a cumulative effect, at least in my perspective. I'm sure maybe in her mind it's different, but for me it was a cumulative effect. And it just eventually, the fear of not having her there, and the fear of losing her, and the fear of not being around the kids 100% of the time wasn't justified anymore to stay and to continue to fight and to continue to put my all into something that I felt like maybe wasn't the right choice. And it's maybe it's the right time. So I'm going to cut this video off so it doesn't get too long, and then I'll continue in a second video, a third video actually. So again, any comments, questions, put them down there, and I'll add them on to another Q&A. Thanks, guys.